You are about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating talk radio. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
Doctor, tell me true. What's a heart like mine supposed to do? Doctor, will it be okay? You got the kind of stuff that makes my day. Doctor on the edge.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. 1-877 Dr. Dahlia, 1-877 DOCDALI. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Honestly, show keeps growing. We're really excited for our new affiliates, and we are so excited that you guys are tuning in like you are. And so thank you from the bottom of our hearts. If ever you do want to catch the show on video, please check us out on Facebook. We are going to be hopefully getting our TikTok up, and we are, of course, able to be here on the radio in multiple affiliates as well as on podcasts. So check us out on Spreaker, iHeart, Odyssey app, TalkStream Live. You'll be able to catch us. If you can't, just write us at drdahlia.com and we'll tell you how to get to the show. So, we're learning about this Cyclospora outbreak and how not only have over 11,000 people gotten affected by the one linked to iceberg lettuce, but also, we have other outbreaks now, being identified and being investigated. And multiple states are involved. Nobody has died, but there have been hospitalizations. There have been multiple people sickened with Cyclospora. Cyclospora is a parasite, not a bacteria, that can grow on vegetables, on fruits. They like the little crevices. It could cause watery diarrhea, bloating, lack of appetite, severe discomfort, and some pretty severe dehydration, loss of electrolytes, and can really make a mess of your bowel. Luckily, we do have a cure for it. We can use antibiotics like Bactrim, because even though it's a parasite, the antibiotic is able to affect the folic acid synthesis that the parasite needs. So it's pretty cool how we could use a non-parasitic to kill it. But what nobody's talking about with this Cyclospora outbreak, which they should, is why are so many people getting it? Now, they say it's oral fecal route, meaning somebody's excretion is somehow getting into your oral cavity, which is disgusting, but it happens. And so we believe the culprit then is somebody not washing their hands when they leave the potty. And these outbreaks seem to happen year after year. This isn't new. Cyclospora or cyclosporiasis outbreaks every year, because this is when people are eating salads and fruits and not necessarily doing the heated up comfort foods in the winter, like your mac and cheese and your biscuits and gravy and things like that. The more hot, warm foods. We're eating non-cooked foods in the summer because we're trying to cool down, and we're trying to, enjoy the summer, and we're doing potlucks and barbecues and things like that. But is anybody asking, okay, what exactly is going, who is touching really think about it. If you're looking at thousands of people, multiple states, multiple outbreaks, what exactly is going on? Do we really have a pandemic of people coming out of the toilet just going like that? Or is there another process? Is there something else going on? Is it that we're getting packaged lettuce or packaged food that was completely contaminated with the parasite, and that it wasn't necessarily the food handler? Now, interestingly, years ago before COVID, we saw a huge spike in foodborne illness at fast food restaurants or some of these restaurants that serve fresh ingredients. And I noticed when you looked at the data that it spiked with legalized marijuana. Now, I'm not anti-legalized marijuana. I voted to legalize marijuana. But I remember we talked about this on the show, where the spike in foodborne illnesses seemed to correlate where you had more marijuana use. And was it because people were coming to work high? Is it that they weren't really thinking about washing their hands? We also saw a spike in STDs roughly at the same time. I'm not going to be paranoid about that. I'm not going to be worried about, put on a condom. Did marijuana per se make you relax? And it isn't not only that the marijuana drug is making you chill, but people share joints. They share, you get a little lax, with your antimicrobial behavior. You get a little bit lax. It was interesting. During my graduation, I've graduated multiple different times, but during my medical school graduation, the medical school graduation was, small, and it was very, very formal. But then we needed to go to the UNR graduation the next day. And it was, more, it was a longer, and it was still a beautiful ceremony. But a bunch of us were kind of out. We were in the heat. We were just kind of waiting to, go back and now try to scramble, get to where we go for residency. And so what some people did to pass the time is they brought some alcohol. And I don't know who did this, but somebody had a 3 or 4 foot champagne bottle. Now, you would think we newly, knighted MDs, doctors, would have looked at this one bottle and said, nah, we should get cups, we should pour it. No, everybody was just passing it around, putting their mouth on something somebody else put their mouth on. Why? Why would somebody in medicine who knows better do that? Well, because the inhibitions dropped. And so the inhibition dropping, whether it's marijuana, whether it's alcohol, whether it's not getting fired, maybe that is going to spur more lackadaisical attitudes towards sanitation. If the average franchise restaurant is really having trouble staffing, and they have rules about hand washing and gloves, and somebody doesn't care and they don't think they're going to get fired, then for me, I worked in a restaurant. I waited tables. I worked in a couple restaurants. If you had all made anybody sick, you're out of a job. You're going to bring down the company. So you better wash your hands after going to the bathroom. You better not taste the drinks that you're serving. You better not be sticking your finger in their fries. But I wonder if just the attitude now, like, well, nothing's going to really happen to me, is making people not care. But we really got to look at these. Who exactly is spreading the fecal? 1-877 Doc Dolly, don't go away.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
Hi, it's Mark Falter, host of the Financial Fitness Show. I strongly believe that no one should ever pay 1 penny more in taxes than they are legally obligated. Unfortunately, for most hardworking Americans, this just isn't the case. Why? Because most people spend more time planning next weekend's getaway than trying to ensure they're going to pay less in taxes. My financial fitness team has put together some materials that I know are going to help you. It's the Tax Savings Kit. Tax Savings Kit includes 3 things: free tax analysis, top 10 ways to pay less in taxes, and an investor's guide to taxes. Now, how do you get it? Simple. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. I'm Mark Falter. This is Financial Fitness, making personal finance profitable.
right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-Doc-Dolly, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So remember I told you that a bunch of people pee in the pool, and one reason women cite peeing in the pool is they don't want to go to the public bathroom that's all wet from people in bathing suits and sit on a wet toilet seat. So what was the statistic? 3 in 5 people pee in the pool. It's ridiculous. And I had told you guys what you could do is you could grab a container and pee in it, stand up. You don't have to, you can still go into the bathroom, but you don't have to, sit on the wet toilet. Just stand up, pee in a cup, and then dump it out. Well, no, it's too much work. Some people don't have a cup or container or whatever, and people are still peeing in the pool. I know they are. It's disgusting. And but interestingly, I've been giving you that advice, and I haven't been necessarily thinking about how I could pee standing up. I'll pee in the shower standing up, right? That's no, it's not that I'm TMI. It's because it's easy, and I'm not going to go in and out of the shower to pee. And it's a drain. But I've pulled my back out on the toilet seat. I've almost slipped. I've almost fallen, especially since I've lived in a house of men with the toilet seat up. And I'm really starting to wonder if it's safer to pee standing up. Now, my husband got me a really, really cool gift. So we're going fishing. And every time he charters a boat or rents a boat or gets a skiff or whatever, I go, is there a potty on the boat? Like a little, because they have like these little portable potties. And it really limits the, vessels we could, commandeer if there's not a potty. And because I'm usually the only girl on the boat, I'll just jump into the water to pee, whether it's the Pacific Ocean, whether it's a dirty lake, I'll jump in and pee. So hubby got me this. It's called a pee bottle. Okay? And it's from Pee Sport. Now, he texted me today saying, don't forget to pack your pee bottle. And I was like, you're right. Because the boat we have is not going to have a potty. And I don't have to worry about number 2. I just have to worry about peeing. And let me show this to you guys. This thing is pretty cool. Okay, so basically, this is actually really cool. I'm wondering if I'm going to use this not only, fishing, but just in my regular, everyday life. So it kind of conforms, okay, to where your urethra is going to be. And what's really interesting is it expands. So it's like it'll hold a lot of urine, especially if my bladder is full. And it's very durable, and it's not going to stink. And when you pour it out in the lake or wherever you're going to pour your pee in a bucket, it's not going to get on you. And I was looking at this morning, and so I kind of reached out to the company, and I go, I want to look at medicinal applications for this. And if I tell my listeners about it, I don't want the painful price. So they gave me a coupon code. If you go to peesport.com, I think it's PEE Sport, SPORT.com. Use the coupon code Dr. Dahlia Show. And I guess they're going to give you like 10% off or something like that. But I'm going to look a little deeper. And look, I could even attach this to my belt. I'm really liking this. And not just for fishing. You're going to probably have to, pull down your pants to put this on, but I don't care about that. I'll just tell everybody to turn around. Dudes, it's interesting. People say that women have penis envy. I don't, but I am a little envious that I just can't whip it out and go off a boat. That's really been my issue. Or we're going hiking. So remember when my boys had altitude sickness and knee issues, they were coming down Mount Charleston. And, I started hiking halfway up there, and then to get them back down, it was almost midnight before we got to our car. Well, obviously I had to pee on the trail. And that was really hard to do when there's nothing to really hold on, and you don't want to hold on, you don't want to get splinters. And I'm trying to hold on to because your knees, when your knees start to not be as strong as mine are, it's really hard to squat. And so here I am, I'm trying to pee and splattering and all that. You know how easy this would have been? It's lightweight. And it's not that I'm doing a commercial. It's just I'm really trying to think of the applications where you could. So one thing that I'm seeing medicinal wise is you're not holding in your urine. For those of us that hold in our urine, we're prone to bladder infections. And the number one reason why we hold in our urine is we don't feel it's convenient to pee. Well, then I might just use this thing. I had a kidney stone. And when I had a kidney stone, you had to collect your urine over 24 hours. Now, the container they give you has a little spout opening. So basically, you have to have cups with you. You have to pee in the cup. You have to grab all that urine. You can't lose any urine because of the 24-hour urine. We want to look at the concentration of uric acid or calcium and components in your stone. So they don't want any urine, with the exception of your first morning stream before collection. Then you start collecting it over. It's a 24-hour stone risk. So you need to kind of collect everything. And I was losing it with these red Solo cups. Don't ask. Because they squish and so for those of you having to do 24-hour urines, I definitely see an application of this. And don't hold in your urine. Let's say the toilet seat is dirty. I can't tell you how many times I will walk into people say men's bathrooms are disgusting. Women's bathrooms just as disgusting. I'll walk in, there's blood on the seat, fluid on the seat. I'm like, I'm not sitting on that. And if I can't squat, if my knees can't do it, well, then fine. Stand up. It is okay to stand and pee. We've spoken about this, and scientists have looked at the way we poop, that maybe we shouldn't be sitting in a throne. It's more comfortable, but we're supposed to squat. Even with childbirth, there's been a lot of back and forth on should we let women stand and give birth. My mom, actually, when she gave birth to my brother, who was like 10 pounds, 5 ounces, they had her stand to get the baby out and use the gravity. Use the gravity. Why be in the lithotomy position? Now, the lithotomy position is fantastic for us doctors and for us to monitor your vitals and to monitor the baby and to, if we do have to, do C-section, you're already, supine. So we have you in the lying down position. But maybe we need to really relook at what we're doing here and where we are from a human standpoint, where we're sitting and we're crossing our legs and we're trying to, get out of our Spanx and we're, I think there's some more practicality. But after I pulled my back out, getting up from a toilet seat, we think what happened is my sacroiliac joints, one of them subluxated, and then all of a sudden I was in full spasm. So I'm basically standing there by the toilet. My pajama bottoms hit the floor. I'm screaming for my husband. I can't move. Help me put my pants on just because I got up from a toilet seat. Now, mind you, my SI joint shouldn't have been that delicate. If I'm out of alignment, I need to, do better back health, and I need to be, up on my either osteopathic manipulation or chiropractic manipulation, and work on my core and make sure I'm still in balance musculoskeletally. But I fear every day getting up from the toilet seat that I'm going to pull my back out. So how would so I don't know. Maybe I just I wake up, I pee, and here's the final thing. Last night. Dogs kept waking me up. I'd have to get up to pee when they wake me up. And one of the dogs did pee-pee house and pee-pee on the floor. And I almost slipped in it. And I'm telling myself, I can't be walking to the bathroom in the middle of the night. There's going to be a fall risk. Well, imagine if I could just get out of bed, pee bedside, and then go back to bed. This isn't supposed to spill or stink. So I'm going to really talk to these Pee Sport guys. It's peasport.com. And again, if you do end up getting one, use the coupon code Dr. Dahlia Show. I'll work on figuring out how to, get you guys a good discount on these things if you do end up looking into that. But if we could prevent falls, if we could prevent back issues, if we could prevent UTIs, if we could prevent me going into shark-infested water to pee, because there's dudes on the boat and I don't want to try to squat and moon them, let alone scare the other boats. When you go fishing, it's usually you're not alone. Everybody's in a good fishing area, which means somebody's getting mooned. I think there's a lot of advantages to something like this. So, I don't know. I'm not telling every woman to pee standing up, but I'm gonna think about it. So anyway, that's pretty cool. All right, so we got a lot to talk about today, even beyond peeing. Fishing. I think I'm gonna be going fishing for rockfish, halibut, and salmon. And then I'm also gonna do a glacier hike. Want to take the kids on a glacier hike. Pretty reasonable actually, and I've got to get out of this heat. But we'll talk more after I get back. 1-877-Doc-Dolly. Don't go away.
Shine Secret. We share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Dahlia here. Thousands of physicians, residents, nurses, and medical students are silently dealing with depression. And tragically, 400 take their lives each year. 400! I wrote The Depressed Doctor, hoping to reach out to anyone struggling. You're not alone. Don't stay silent. The Depressed Doctor can be found on Amazon, or the book can be found on drdahlia.com. And if you or anyone you know needs help, call or text 988, the National Suicide and Crisis Hotline. We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. So LeBron James did not look happy during the playoffs with that playoff loss as the Lakers lost. Oh, gosh. I've been watching so many games that I forgot how they lost. Wasn't the Spurs, was it? No. And they, anyway, as he's walking to the locker room, he looked unhappy. And I've been watching LeBron James play for years. He's the team. He carries that team. And so seeing him walk off and leave the Lakers, I thought he was going to retire or go to another team. But I didn't think he was going to stay. So we find out today he has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. He's not ready to leave. He is 41 years old. He's signing a 2-year, $8 million contract with a player option. And I believe he made $53 million with the Lakers last season. He addressed his decision-making on X, saying that he initially thought he was done playing, but then he took some time to decide on his future. And he said, I was honest at that last press conference when I said I needed to look at myself and decide if I still love this game. After deciding I still truly love this game and I have more to give, he chose the 76ers, committing to this. This is, I think, his fourth NBA team. And so, I think it was, I apologize. I'm trying to look up some part of his decorated career. But the point I want to make with LeBron James. Also, I've been watching this Teddy Roosevelt Netflix series. It's only 2 episodes, but it's pretty good. It's about 3 hours total. Teddy Roosevelt leaves office. Says he serves as vice president to McKinley. McKinley gets shot and killed. Teddy Roosevelt, being vice president, now becomes president. Then he gets reelected in 1904. Then he serves. And he says on the night of his reelection, he's not going to do a third term. This was before they did term limits. And he said, because I'm not a king. Well, then after he leaves and he, appoints Taft to be the Republican nominee, thinking Taft is going to carry on his legacy. Taft ends up not. He gets upset. He wants to come back, and he keeps trying to come back. And it's interesting to see this, I'm retired, but I'm coming back. Tom Brady, same thing. Now, we think it was because, the kids and the family, any of us could have told you, look, 5 days at home with the kids, you're going to tap out quickly. I'm surprised he lasted that long. I love kids, but, being at work keeps me sane. But what is this about you're done, you have a loss, you're not. In fact, Tom Brady left after winning a Super Bowl. But then he comes back, and then he has a losing year. Bucks won Super Bowl when he was there, but then when he came back the next year, they didn't. And so LeBron James, he's not, it's interesting. So a lot of us think that retirement, is where you're, I'm going to spend time doing other things. Or I'm not fit to work anymore. My working years are done. And that's not always the case. Tom Brady didn't think he was done. LeBron James doesn't think he's done. Teddy Roosevelt didn't think he was done. Donald Trump doesn't think he's done. And there's also a depression you get when you leave, Michael Phelps would talk about this. But here you are, where it's all goal driven, and you're just getting something done, and then all of a sudden you roll out of bed. And even though, you have goals with the kids, with the grandkids, or, this trip or whatever, it's not the same as that drive that work gave you. If you liked work, if you enjoyed work, if you hated work, you're going to love retirement. But if you like your job and you like working, see, I would hate retirement. I'm never retiring. I remember being put on bed rest when I was pregnant, and I still worked. I worked in bed. But you want me in bed? I still worked out in bed. I did leg lifts and arm lifts. I mean, you want me in bed? I'll be in bed, but I'm not stopping. Yeah, and I'm watching LeBron James carry the Lakers to the playoffs like he did. And then, the team, he just couldn't be the whole team. They lose. And I'm like, that would suck if he has to end his career when he is still on a high. So I don't blame him. I don't blame him for wanting to be there. But, for you or I, kind of looking at, retirement should not necessarily connote that we're done. It's interesting. People say, Dr. Dahlia, why did you retire from medicine? I didn't retire from medicine. In where I live in Southern Nevada, the rumor is I retired. And I don't know where that rumor started. I closed my office to teach and to still provide care in a university setting, but I didn't retire. Maybe it's because nobody wanted to go into how Obamacare ruined the average small doctor business, and the insurance wasn't paying, patients weren't paying, and we could have gone broke if we still, maybe nobody really wanted to explain it that way. So they just said, I retired. And then I still get questions. In fact, I was being interviewed on the radio, or I was being interviewed for a local TV station, and they said, yeah, so you're retired. I go, no, I've never retired. I'm still working. I'm seeing patients online, doing telemedicine. But the term retirement to me, means, you are stepping away from working. You're not working. And I don't think that's true for a lot of us. And I don't think a lot of people then choose retirement. Now, you could step back. You could pivot with your career. You can work less. And I'm starting to hear people use the term semi-retired. But every patient I had who retired, and I still saw them as patients, they didn't like it. And they wanted to go back. I have rarely met a patient who retired. Now, that's if they retired too soon. They were 50, 60, 70, and they didn't like it. They fought with their spouse. They were afraid to spend money because they weren't bringing money in. So the idea that, we're going to travel the world, that costs money. And if you don't have money coming in, and you're going to be living another 20 years. Now you need to, think about how you're traveling. You're going to start after taking trains. You can't be doing first class trips. And so a lot. So for those of you going, well, gosh, I need to retire. I don't want you going through the depression of not working or the depression of, wait, retirement isn't what it is. It needs to be. And I grew up where the definition of retirement was a lot different. The definition of retirement in the 80s was a company paying you your retirement or paying you severance or paying you a pension. And so when somebody said they're retiring, they're getting money in. Now, my family never had a company paying them money, so they never retired. I think my mom is in her 80s and she's still working. Just the retirement, it's not in her blood. So if you are going, well, I'm going to retire at this age, or I'm going to retire, I'm going to, really actually think about what that's going to look like. Because you might be thinking, oh, I could afford this. But once the money stops coming in, it's a little different, especially if you're only going to get $1,200 or $2,000 with Social Security. My family member only gets $1,200 a month. That's not enough. Barely covers rent. I don't want to depress you guys. I'm not saying don't retire. But before you, take this job and shove it to your boss, saying that, really start to rethink. And what I really recommend you do is do a partial retirement. Wind down. Try the part-time and see how that works for you. See how part-time works. You might love it and want to stay in it. Or you might be like, no, I really hate this job. I want to leave. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away. Dr. Dahlia here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Hey guys, it's Clyde. We've had a lot of requests for Ground Zero merchandise, so we put together an online store with a big variety of high-quality items. I'm really excited to let you know about these things. We have a lot to offer you and your loved ones. In addition to our regular apparel, such as t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, and hats, we've expanded our product line with posters, flags, aprons, mugs, and a whole lot more. We also have Ground Zero collectibles, along with a limited edition of items like a Clyde Lewis canvas portrait, a Ground Zero embroidered jacket that will certainly make for great gifts and for interesting conversations with family and friends. And we now offer publications such as Ron Patton's book about mind control, MK Zine, and back copies of the official magazine of Ground Zero while it was in print. Paranoia, the Conspiracy Reader, also coming in 2023, are updated and revised books that I've written. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. So shop today at our official store by going to groundzeromerch.com. Again, that's groundzeromerch.com.
We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-DOC-DALY, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So when critics of our current voting system, where you have some states saying, no, we don't need to see ID, what's your name? Joe Smith, great, nice to meet you, go vote. really, you don't need my ID. You don't. Are you sure somebody isn't going to vote with my name? Don't you want to know if I actually live in the United States? No, go ahead, just vote. Critics of that process was like, look, you're going to have people voting that shouldn't vote. Well, who shouldn't be voting in an American election? Well, non-Americans, if they're non-citizens. Any other country, if I go there to visit and I try to vote, I'm in trouble. I'm not allowed to vote in a Mexican government election. I'm not allowed. They don't want that because they don't want outside countries interfering with their politics. So they have strict voter ID laws, and most countries do. But the argument that the Democrats are making is there's no proof that illegal immigrants are voting. Well, yeah, there is. And it actually came from a Democrat governor. Governor Mickey Sherrill from New Jersey announced yesterday, or 2 days ago, that a serious software error in New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the registration of roughly 6,600 people who indicated that they were not U.S. citizens between June 2023 and June 2024. This was when Democrat Phil Murphy, was governor. In the preliminary analysis, the governor says it shows fewer than 400 individuals who were newly registered for the first time because of the error voted so far. So she's saying 400 voted of this 6,600. And again, we're taking her word for it. But whether it's one vote or 100,000 votes, it's a contaminated system. There's room for fraud. Illegal immigrants should not be voting in our election. And the fact that one can, let alone 400, means it's a contaminated process. These were contaminated because in science, when you do a science experiment, if at all there's something that gets through that shouldn't, that could skew results, that is not supposed to be there, it's null and void. So let's say you have a petri dish, and you swabbed your bacteria on there. You see your beautiful bacteria colonies, but there's a little baby fungal colony in the corner, not even touching the bacterial colonies, but there's a little fungal colony there. Do you still get to count that petri dish? No. That petri dish has to be discarded immediately because it's contaminated. Even if it's one little baby fungal colony. Because there's always unintended consequences. There's always different energies that can affect the process. So they believe voters made actually no attempt to conceal their non-citizen status when registering. And the problem was of a computer error than deliberate fraud. So that's what Cheryl is saying. But they said it went undetected for 2 to 3 years. So the argument to review the voter rolls is essential. Plus, if you have to show proof of citizenship to register to vote, what are the fail-safes? What are the safety nets? What protects this? So whether there's a snafu with a computer or not, as long as you have the checks and balances saying, well, you guys show proof of citizenship, then we don't have to worry about computer issues. Voter ID, you don't have to then worry about computer glitches. Now, you do have to worry about computer glitches in terms of somebody hacking and changing the results. So one thing that happened in Southern Nevada that nobody could explain, that they're very concerned about, but it let go, was during the, I don't know if it was the 2012 election or if it was the 2010 midterm, but Senator Harry Reid was running for re-election, and Sharon Engel, a Northern Nevada private citizen, I don't believe she was in government work, was really holding her own against Harry Reid. And she was leading resoundly on election night in the polls. Then a huge power outage happened in Southern Nevada. When the power came back on, my co-anchor was talking about how Sharon Engel, why she's leading, and I'm like, excuse me, she's not leading anymore. Then within a second, it was a complete flip, 180-degree flip. Now, it could just be all the data dumped, and there was a data dump, but you keep hearing people talk about this blackout, this temporary, power outage, and then all of a sudden the numbers changed. Now, I'm not saying there was fraud, but these are things that make people really, really nervous about what's going on with elections, where you blink your eye and somebody who's ahead isn't anymore. What happened with Spencer Pratt? Very odd. He's leading as every day goes by. They even say, they were even talking about, guys, we still have many more days to count the voting. A lot can happen. And Spencer Pratt, who looked like a shoo-in, no. The progressive, Nadia, was superseded him. And so, I mean, I'm not saying there was cheating, but obviously people are going, what happened there? So we have to get the results the day of. That's a no-brainer. We have to review voter polls. In fact, I think Alaska has now sent 3,000 letters asking voters to verify their citizenship ahead of the midterms. We're being told by New York Post that the state of Alaska sent more than 3,000 letters to Alaska voters asking them to verify their citizenship ahead of the August 18th primary. People are concerned. And I've heard people say, but, Dr. Dahlia, how do we, how do we do that? Nobody has a birth certificate anymore. It's interesting. I needed a copy of my birth certificate. Now, mind you, I've been on this planet for a good few decades. I was able to call the office in California and get a copy. You can get copies of your birth certificate. There has to be that data. And if not, there's other things that you could use to prove your citizenship, like your Social Security card, etc. So I know everybody's saying, oh, this is an absolute mess, but other countries are able to do it. If we're really at a loss of how to make sure our voter rolls are legit and how legitimate citizens vote, just look north and ask Canada how they're doing it. Look south and ask how Mexico's doing it. Look west and ask how Japan is doing it. Look east and ask how Ireland and the UK are doing it. I mean, I think everybody can tell you. It's really a no-brainer, people. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY.
Looking for an easy read that can actually help secure someone's future? Pick up a copy of Mark Falter's book, Common Sense Income Strategies. For the past 30-plus years, Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and and talking about on the radio for decades. It's not rocket science, it's a pretty easy read. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. Common Sense Income Strategies is available now on Amazon or by calling 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Common Sense Income Strategies by Financial Fitness Show host Mark Falter. Secure your financial future today.